like the typical idea I have of like recording into a microphone and recording an instrument. But like the idea of like making beats is like not even in my brain at this point, you know? And so it was right around that time, I had listened to Kanye pretty heavily, or not really heavy, like I knew who he was and I knew all the hits growing up, but around, so this year, or that year was, my sophomore year was like 2010. And so right before My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came out, I was like, I had digested like his entire catalog. And then right out, not too long after that, I digested like all of Jay's catalog. And that shit just fucking, God, man, it just sent me. It just sent me to another, like, I feel like that's where my life went, like, left, you know?
Okay.
Because it changed me as a person. It changed me, like, how I looked at the world. It changed, like, and then not to be like, I know everyone says this, like, oh, Kanye, like, is my, whatever, but, like, as a person who literally has the same, like, diagnosis that he does, and, like, you know, I mean, though we didn't know about that till years later, but, like, it kind of, that was, like, right at the beginning of me trying to make music, so, is when I got diagnosed, so it did kind of work out like that. And, you know, it is kind of a crazy thing where I can honestly say that, like, I don't think I'd be as, like, outgoing, as, like, fearless in terms of, like, how in my work and in my how I am as an artist and shit.
Word.
I don't think I would be like that if it wasn't for him. And, like, and not just him, but, like, I mean, a lot of the guys I look up to, but mainly them too, is, like, they're, like, because for them, I identify with them a lot in the way they just, like, the way they see the world and shit. I know I can't relate to a lot of stuff, obviously, in terms of like specific circumstances and shit like that.
Right.
But like when I listened to even like 444, that was kind of in a weird formative time, like that, because that was like 4 years ago. So I was like 21. Yeah. So that was, you know, obviously I don't know what it's like about raising kids and like half of the shit he was talking about, but just kind of the overall like introspection and getting to a place where you can even like have that conversation with yourself, whatever it's about, but just being at that level of openness with yourself, and that for him to get to that place as a 50-year-old man after, you know what I mean, like, is fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
That's just
like to not, because I feel like most people kind of check out after like a certain age and you're just like, I'm good, everything's done, you know?
super easy to do that.
So
I'm glad, like, I hear, I'm glad that you identify with that part of Kanye and that part of Jay-Z, because I wanted to figure out a way to talk about Dolph, and I think this is a good way to interject with that, throw that in there and switch it up a little bit. A lot of the way that people identify with their trauma are things that they go through when they're seeking identity and seeking to be included in things. I'm glad you chose the path that you chose, though destructive in its own way. You're still here. There's a lot.
yeah.
There's a lot of youth, a lot of young people. I'm from the Midwest. I get goosebumps talking about it. Like, I just had one of my college friends murdered, Travell Miller, like, just got murdered, you know, and he was protecting his daughter, like taking his daughter to school, and they tried to jack the car in, you know what I mean? Just, yeah, like, it's just ill. And not saying that was like a rap related situation, but the Nipsey situation, super related. Sis, that's your community. That's your community directly. And he was doing nothing but giving back. But this dives into identity and the way that these kids and the youth identify with that. I would say, go ahead, tap in a little bit, sis, because you was out there directly when things like that happened. That affected that community tremendously.
Oh yeah, because I think a few things. The first is like whenever you see someone on a large scale that can say that they're having a similar issue to you, it really validates that you're going to be okay, or it validates that you have a particular strength. But then it's equally the opposite when somebody on a grand scale identifies with your hood, then you have a problem with them too. So it's like music really is the kind of language that speaks to all people. Either you with me or you against me, and I may not even know you. Either you validate my trauma, my wellness, my path, or you invalidate me, and now if I see you, I'm gonna take you out. Like, the music is so intimate and interconnected that I think that you sometimes forget that this song is not about you. This experience is not about you. Or you know, you get so wrapped up in these different lived experiences, And I think that's why music is so integral to healing. But definitely these communities, like people adopt these belief systems. People absolutely adopt belief systems that are disseminated in music. So artists will absolutely continue to traumatize communities or they will help heal them.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's the ill thing with Dolph. Like,